I received my first call from the killer at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in March. The phone on my nightstand buzzed with an unknown number. As a detective with Boston PD for 23 years, I'd learned to answer every call, no matter the hour. What I heard on the other end of that line would change everything I thought I knew about evil. A man's voice, calm and measured, almost gentle. Detective Sarah Chen, I need to confess something. I killed a woman tonight. Her name is Rebecca Morrison. She's 28 years old, was 28. She's in her apartment at 447 Riverside Drive, Unit 3B. I'm calling because I want you to know I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. But I couldn't stop myself. I never can. Before I could respond, before I could trace the call or ask a single question, he hung up. I sat in the darkness of my bedroom, heart pounding, wondering if this was a prank. A sick joke, but something in his voice told me it wasn't. There was genuine remorse there, genuine pain, and that made it worse somehow. I called it in. Sent a unit to 447 Riverside Drive, and 40 minutes later, I got the confirmation that made my blood run cold. Rebecca Morrison, 28 years old. Found dead in her apartment, strangled. The scene was clean, professional, and she'd been dead for less than 2 hours when we found her. The killer had called me within minutes of ending her life to apologize. That was the beginning. I didn't know it then, but this wouldn't be the last call, wouldn't be the last apology. And by the time I finally understood who he was and why he was calling, 5 more people would be dead, my career would be in ruins, and I'd question everything I believed about justice, guilt, and redemption. My name is Detective Sarah Chen. I'm 47 years old and I've spent more than 2 decades hunting killers in Boston. I've seen things that would break most people. Scenes that haunt me in quiet moments, victims whose faces I'll never forget. But nothing in my career prepared me for the man who would become known in the media as the apologetic killer. Before we go further into this story, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me what city you're watching from. Are you alone right now? Are you listening in the dark like I was when this all began? I want to know who's out there following this case with me, because what happened over those 6 weeks in early 2024 wasn't just about catching a killer. It was about understanding something fundamental about human nature. About whether remorse means anything when it comes after the act, whether saying sorry can ever be enough. The department psychologist would later tell me I was suffering from a form of Stockholm Syndrome. That the killer's calls had manipulated me. Made me see him as human when I should have only seen him as a monster. Maybe she was right, or maybe the truth is more complicated than that. Maybe we're all capable of terrible things. And maybe acknowledging that doesn't make us weak or compromised. Maybe it just makes us honest. So let me tell you what happened. Let me walk you through every call, every body, every moment of doubt and revelation. And you can decide for yourself whether I did the right thing in the end. The morning after that first call, I stood in Rebecca Morrison's apartment trying to reconcile what I was seeing with what I'd heard on the phone. The scene was paradoxical, violent but careful. Her body had been positioned on the bed, arms crossed over her chest like she was sleeping. But the bruising on her neck told a different story. She'd fought, struggled, died in terror. Yet whoever killed her had stayed after, had arranged her, had shown what looked almost like tenderness. The medical examiner estimated time of death between 1:30 and 2:30 a.m., which meant the killer had called me within an hour of the murder, maybe less. My partner, Detective Marcus Webb, found me standing in Rebecca's living room, staring at a wall of photographs. Rebecca with friends, Rebecca at the beach. Rebecca smiling at a birthday party. A whole life captured in frozen moments. You okay, Chen? Marcus asked. He was 10 years younger than me, but we'd been partners for 5 years. He knew when something was off. He called me Marcus, the killer. He called my personal cell and told me where to find her. What? When? 2:47 this morning, unknown number. I'm having tech try to trace it, but I'm not hopeful. He knew what he was doing. What did he say? That he was sorry, that he couldn't stop himself, that he wanted me to find her quickly so her family wouldn't have to wait and wonder. Marcus was quiet for a moment, processing. Then, this is a first contact. He's establishing a relationship with you, I know, which means he'll call again. I know that too, and I was right. The second call came 3 days later. Same time, 2:47 a.m. exactly. Same unknown number. Same calm voice. Detective Chen, it's me. I did it again. I'm so sorry. His name is David Park. He's 32. I left him in his car in the parking garage at 89 Atlantic Avenue, level 3. I tried to stop myself. I really did, but the urge was too strong. I need you to understand, I don't want to do this. I hate myself for it, but I can't stop. Please find him quickly. I don't want him to be alone there for long. This time I kept him on the line. Who are you? Why are you doing this? I can't tell you who I am. Not yet, maybe never. But I'm calling you because you deserve to know. Because someone should witness what I'm doing. Someone should know that I'm not just a monster. That I'm trying, even though I keep failing. If you're trying to stop, turn yourself in. Let me help you. He laughed, soft and sad. You can't help me, detective. No one can. This is who I am, but at least I can give you the courtesy of warning you. At least I can say I'm sorry. It's not much. But it's all I have. He hung up. We found David Park exactly where the killer said he'd be strangled, positioned carefully in his car seat with his hands folded in his lap. Like he was resting, like he'd just closed his eyes for a moment. The pattern was establishing itself every 3 days. Always at 2:47 a.m., always a call telling me where to find the body. Always an apology by the fourth victim the media had caught on. They called him the apologetic killer, the remorseful murderer, the sorry strangler. Every headline tried to capture the bizarre nature of what was happening. A serial killer who called the police to confess, who expressed genuine regret, who seemed to want to be caught but kept killing anyway. The department put together a task force, 12 detectives including Marcus and me. FBI got involved. We set up traces on my phone, had tech teams standing by for every call. We analyzed every victim looking for connections. Rebecca Morrison, 28, worked in marketing. David Park, 32, was a software engineer. Victim 3 was Jennifer Walsh, 35, a teacher. Victim 4 was Michael Chen, no relation to me, 41, owned a restaurant. Victim 5 was Amanda Rodriguez, 29, worked in finance, different ages, different professions, different neighborhoods, different social circles. No obvious connection except they were all killed the same way and all found exactly where the killer said they'd be. We reviewed security footage from near each crime scene. Looked for the same face, the same vehicle. Anything that appeared more than once, nothing. The killer was careful. Knew where cameras were, avoided them, or disabled them. We analyzed the phone calls. Voice modulation experts said he wasn't using any electronic disguise. This was his real voice. Late 30s to mid-40s based on vocal patterns, educated, probably white. Probably local based on his knowledge of the city. But that was thousands of people. We got nowhere. And every 3 days, at 2:47 a.m., my phone would ring. After the 5th victim, I started recording my side of the conversations, trying to keep him on the line longer, trying to learn something, anything. Why 2:47? I asked him, why always the same time? Because that's when it happens, when the urge becomes unbearable, when I can't fight it anymore. I've tried waiting, tried pushing it away. But by 2:47, I've already lost. The killing is just the final act. The call to you is the aftermath. My attempt at penance. Penance for what? What are you atoning for being what I am? For not being strong enough to stop, for taking lives that weren't mine to take. Then stop. Just stop. I can't, detective. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This isn't a choice anymore. If it ever was, this is compulsion. This is need. And I hate myself for it. But hating myself doesn't make it stop. Do you want to be caught? Long pause. I don't know. Part of me does. Part of me wants this to end, but another part, I'm afraid of what comes after, of facing what I've done, of seeing it reflected in other people's eyes. Right now, you're the only person who knows me, really knows me. And somehow, that makes it bearable. Barely, but bearable. I don't know you. You won't even tell me your name. You know the most important thing about me. You know what I do, what I am. That's more than anyone else knows. The call would end. I'd sit in the dark, and 3 days later, we'd find another body. The public was getting scared. The media was relentless. The mayor was demanding results. My captain was holding daily press conferences saying we were making progress, but we weren't. We were drowning in tips that led nowhere, chasing ghosts. And all the while, the killer kept calling, kept apologizing, kept making me feel like somehow, impossibly, I knew him. That I understood him, and that scared me more than anything. The sixth call changed something. He deviated from the pattern. Instead of telling me where to find a body, he wanted to talk. Detective Chen, I'm not calling with a location tonight. I'm calling because I need to tell you something. I've been thinking about stopping. Really stopping, not just trying and failing, but actually ending this. My heart rate spiked. I'm listening. Tell me how I can help. You can't help. But you can listen. I need someone to listen. To understand why I started, maybe if I tell you, maybe if someone knows, I can stop. Or maybe I'm just making excuses. I don't know anymore. Tell me. Whatever it is, tell me. He was quiet for so long I thought he'd hung up. Then, my daughter died 6 years ago. She was 9. Her name was Emma. She had leukemia. We did everything. Chemo, radiation, bone marrow transplant. Nothing worked. I watched her suffer for 3 years. Watched her get smaller and weaker and more tired. Watched the light go out of her eyes bit by bit. And there was nothing I could do. Nothing that mattered. I was powerless, completely powerless. And when she died, when I held her for the last time and felt her go still, something in me broke. Something that never healed. I'm sorry for your loss, truly. But that doesn't justify. I'm not justifying anything. I'm explaining. After Emma died, I started having these urges. To hurt people. To take control in a way I couldn't with her. To be powerful instead of powerless. I fought it for 3 years, saw therapists, took medication, tried to be normal, but the urges got stronger. And one night, I stopped fighting. I found someone, a stranger, and I killed them. And for a moment, just a moment, I felt in control again, felt powerful, felt like I mattered. But then the guilt came. The understanding of what I'd done. The horror of it, and I couldn't live with it. Couldn't live with being that person, so I tried to stop. But the urges came back, stronger, and I failed again and again, each time hating myself more. Each time calling you to at least acknowledge what I'd done. To not let it be secret, to be witnessed in my shame. I didn't know what to say. How do you respond to that? How do you balance sympathy for his loss with horror at what he'd become? Your daughter wouldn't want this, wouldn't want you to become this, I know. And that makes it worse. I'm destroying everything she was. Everything she meant to me. I'm making her death mean something terrible. But I can't stop, And I don't know if I even want to anymore. Because stopping means facing what I've done, means accepting that I'm a monster. And maybe it's easier to just keep being a monster than to try to come back from this. It's not too late. You can still, it is too late, detective. It's been too late since the first one, but thank you for listening. Thank you for being the one person who knows the truth. Even if you hate me for it, even if you should. At least someone knows. At least I'm not completely alone in this. He hung up. I sat in bed staring at my phone. Marcus had been monitoring the call from the precinct. He called immediately. We traced it. Finally got a partial location. Cell tower in Jamaica Plain. We're narrowing it down. Chen, we might actually have him, but I felt sick. Because somewhere in that conversation, something had shifted. I'd started seeing him as human, as broken, as pitiable. And that was exactly what he wanted. That was the manipulation. Making me care, making me understand, making it harder to see him as just a monster that needed to be stopped. We didn't find him from the cell tower location. The area was too dense, too many residents, too many possibilities. But we started looking differently. Started searching for men in their late 30s to mid-40s who'd lost a daughter named Emma 6 years ago. And we found 17 possibilities in the greater Boston area. 17 men whose 9-year-old daughters had died in 2018. We started investigating each one. Background checks, interviews with family members, surveillance, looking for anything that fit. Any connection to the victims, any suspicious behavior. 3 days later, the 7th call came, but this time, something was different. He was crying, "Detective, I tried to stop. I really tried. I thought maybe telling you about Emma would help. Would make it real, would give me strength, but it didn't. I killed again tonight. Her name is Lisa Patterson. She's 34. She's at her home at 623 Maple Street. And I'm so tired, detective. So tired of being this person, of doing these things, of hating myself and doing it anyway. I don't know how much longer I can keep calling, keep apologizing, keep pretending that sorry means anything when I just keep doing it. Maybe next time I won't call. Maybe I'll just disappear. Let you find the bodies on your own. Would that be better? Would that be easier for both of us? Don't disappear. Keep calling. As long as you keep calling, there's a chance to stop this. A chance to get help. There's no help for what I am. But I'll keep calling for now, because you're right. It's the only thing connecting me to being human. The only thing that makes me feel like I'm not completely lost. Your voice at 2:47 a.m. Your willingness to listen even though you should just trace the call and catch me. That's my lifeline, pathetic as it is. I am trying to trace the call. I am trying to catch you. Don't mistake my listening for acceptance. I know. And I'm grateful for that too. At least you're honest. At least you see me clearly. Monster who's sorry. That's all I am. That's all I'll ever be. We found Lisa Patterson. Same careful positioning. Same contradictory mix of violence and tenderness. She was the 7th victim. And our list of 17 potential suspects had been narrowed to 5. 5 men who fit the profile, who'd lost daughters named Emma, who had the physical capability and psychological damage to become what this man had become. We put surveillance on all 5, watched them, waited, hoped that one would break pattern, would reveal himself. 3 days later, the 8th call. And this time, I broke protocol. Instead of just keeping him talking, I confronted him. I know who you are. We've narrowed it down. 5 possibilities. We're watching all of you. This ends soon. One way or another. He was quiet. Then, good, that's good. Maybe being caught is the only way this stops. Maybe I need to be stopped since I can't stop myself. But detective, when you do catch me, when you see my face and know my name, I want you to remember something. I'm not just a monster. I'm also a father who lost his daughter. A husband who lost his wife to grief after Emma died. A man who broke and never healed. That doesn't excuse what I've done. But it explains it, and maybe understanding matters. Even if justice doesn't care about understanding, justice is all that matters. Understanding is just context, then I'll be just context in the end. Just another case, just another killer with a sad backstory that didn't matter. But you'll remember me, Detective Chen. Every time your phone rings at 2:47 a.m. for the rest of your life, you'll remember my voice, my apologies, my failures. And maybe that's my real legacy, not the people I killed, but the one person I made listen. We identified him 2 days before the 9th call. His name was Daniel Foster, 43 years old. Had been a high school English teacher before his daughter Emma died in 2018. After her death, he'd taken a leave of absence that became permanent. His wife Karen had left him a year later, unable to cope with her own grief and his deterioration. He'd been living alone in a small apartment in Jamaica Plain, working odd jobs. Keeping to himself, neighbors described him as quiet, sad, harmless. We obtained a warrant, planned a raid for early morning. Before the next call, before another victim. But I did something I shouldn't have. I went to see him alone first. I don't know why. Maybe I needed to see his face to reconcile the voice I'd been hearing with a real person. Maybe I wanted to give him a chance to surrender quietly. Or maybe I'd been manipulated so thoroughly that I felt I owed him something. I arrived at his apartment at 9 p.m., knocked on the door. He answered. And I saw him for the first time, medium height, thin, brown hair going gray. Lines around his eyes that spoke of years of not sleeping well. He looked at me and knew immediately who I was. Detective Chen, Mr. Foster, Daniel, we need to talk. He stepped aside. Let me in. The apartment was sparse, clean, almost empty. Like he'd already given up on living there. Like he was just waiting for something to end. We sat in his living room. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then, you found me faster than I expected. I thought I had more time. Time for what? More victims, more apologies. Time to decide what to do. Whether to turn myself in or disappear or just end it. I've been thinking about ending it. Would be easier than facing trial, facing the families. Seeing what I've done reflected in everyone's eyes, you called me after every kill. You wanted someone to know. Some part of you wants to be stopped, some part of me, but not all of me. There's still a part that wants to keep going. That needs to. That's addicted to the control, the power. The momentary feeling that I'm not helpless, and I don't know which part is stronger. The part that wants to stop or the part that wants to continue. I looked around the apartment, saw photos of Emma on the walls. A shrine to a dead child, a father frozen in grief. She wouldn't want this, your daughter. She wouldn't want you to become what you've become, I know. That's why I call you. Why I apologize, because she is watching somehow. And I need to acknowledge that I know this is wrong. That I'm destroying her memory, but knowing doesn't stop me. Nothing stops me. I can stop you right now. You can come with me, surrender, face what you've done. It won't be easy, but it will be over. He smiled. Sad and tired, will it? Or will I just be in a cell still thinking about it? Still feeling the urges, still hating myself. Sometimes I think death would be more merciful. For me and for all the people I haven't killed yet. You don't get mercy. You get justice, justice. He said the word like it was foreign. Like he couldn't quite remember what it meant. I used to believe in justice, used to think the world was fair. Then I watched my 9-year-old daughter die over 3 years and I realized justice doesn't exist. Just random suffering, random cruelty. So I added to it. Became part of the cruelty. And now you want me to face justice for becoming what the world made me. The irony isn't lost on me, detective. We sat in silence. Then I made a decision that would haunt me. You have until morning. I'm raiding this place at 6 a.m. with a full tactical team. If you're here, we arrest you. If you're gone, we hunt you. And if you've hurt anyone else between now and then, I will spend the rest of my career making sure you suffer for it. Those are your options. Decide. I left. I don't know why I gave him those hours. Maybe because he'd given me something too. His truth, his brokenness, his remorse, as meaningless as it was. Maybe because I wanted him to choose to take control one last time. To decide his own ending. Or maybe I was just tired. Tired of chasing him, tired of the calls. Tired of feeling sympathy for someone who'd done unforgivable things. Tired of the moral complexity of understanding a monster. At 2:47 a.m., my phone rang. One last time, I answered. Daniel Foster's voice, quiet and resigned. Detective Chen, thank you for the choice. Thank you for letting me decide. I'm not running. I'm not killing again. I'm ending this the only way I can. By the time you find me in the morning, it will be over. I'll be with Emma, or I'll be nowhere. Either way, the killing stops. I'm sorry for what I've done. Sorry for the lives I took. Sorry for the families I destroyed. Sorry for making you listen to my justifications and my grief. You deserved better. Everyone deserved better. But this is all I can give now. This ending. This choice to stop even if I couldn't stop before. Tell the families I'm sorry, even though sorry means nothing. Even though it's too late, tell them anyway. Let them know I knew what I was doing was wrong. That I hated myself for it. Maybe that will help. Probably it won't. But it's all I have left to offer. Daniel, wait. Don't do this. Face trial. Face the families. Let them see you acknowledge what you did. That matters more than dying, does it? Or does it just prolong everyone's suffering? This way is cleaner. This way I'm gone and they can focus on their grief without me being a constant reminder. This way I take my guilt with me instead of forcing everyone to watch me perform remorse in a courtroom. I think this is better. For everyone, you don't get to decide what's better for everyone. You gave up that right when you killed the first person. You're right, but I'm deciding anyway. One last exercise of control, one last choice, and I choose to end it. Goodbye, Detective Chen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being the witness I needed. You're a good person, better than I deserved. I hope you can let this go. Hope you can move past it. Hope my voice stops haunting your nights eventually. You deserve peace more than I ever did. The line went dead. I called it in immediately. We rushed to his apartment. Broke down the door at 3:15 a.m. Found him in his bedroom. He'd taken pills, left a note, 8 pages detailing every kill. Every victim, every moment of regret, a full confession, DNA evidence linking him to each scene. Everything we'd need to close the cases, everything except justice. He was still breathing when we found him. We called an ambulance, got him to the hospital. They pumped his stomach, saved his life. He woke up 3 hours later in custody, and that should have been the end. The apologetic killer caught. Full confession obtained. Justice served, but it wasn't the end because Daniel Foster refused to speak after that night. Refused to apologize again. Refused to explain or justify or show any remorse. He pled guilty to all 8 counts, accepted 8 consecutive life sentences without possibility of parole. And in the courtroom, when the families of his victims confronted him, when they screamed and cried and demanded to know why, he sat in silence. No apologies, no explanations, no emotion, like the person who'd called me for 6 weeks had disappeared. Like he'd used up all his remorse in those late-night calls and had none left for the people who actually deserved it. That haunted me more than the calls ever had. The realization that his apologies had been for him, not for the victims. That calling me had been about easing his own guilt, not about genuine remorse. That I'd been manipulated into providing him absolution he didn't deserve and his victims would never get. 2 years have passed. Daniel Foster is in maximum security. I've tried to visit him 3 times. He's refused every time. Won't see me, won't speak to me, has completely withdrawn. The prison psychologist says he's catatonic most days. Barely eats, doesn't interact with other inmates or guards. Just exists in silence, the same silence he gave to the families in court. And I'm left with questions I'll never have answered. Was any of his remorse real? Did he actually want to stop? Or was calling me just another form of control? Another way to feel powerful by making a detective listen to him, by making me complicit in his narrative, by transforming his crimes into a tragedy instead of just evil. I don't know. I'll never know. But I learned something about monsters that I wish I hadn't. That they can be broken and pitiable and still be monsters. That understanding their pain doesn't excuse their actions. That remorse without change is just performance. And that the most dangerous killers aren't the ones who embrace their evil. They're the ones who make you believe they hate it as much as you do. The ones who make you sympathize. The ones who call at 2:47 a.m. to apologize. My name is Detective Sarah Chen. I caught the apologetic killer. But I'll never be free of him. Because he was right about one thing. Every time my phone rings in the middle of the night for the rest of my life, I'll hear his voice. His apologies, his lies that felt like truth. And I'll wonder if I could have stopped him sooner if I'd been less interested in understanding him and more focused on just stopping him. That's the real ending of this story, not justice served. But a detective who learned that some people apologize because they're sorry. And some people apologize because it's the last form of control they have. And knowing the difference might be impossible until it's too late.